Some people will sage their decks. Some people will put them out in sunlight or moonlight, do that kind of thing. Whatever it is that you want to have as your ritual of cleansing the deck is just fine. Since I have so many decks, whenever I start in this room, what I do is I usually have incense burning or sage the room or whatever incense I like, that kind of thing. You can do it that way. If you want, you could air cleanse it, whatever element you want to incorporate that to you signifies cleansing something. You can't really water the cards, although one time I left my cards out overnight, they got rained on, and I was like, oh, fuck. Had to replace that deck. It was an old Robin Wood deck. But however you want to do them. Some people keep them in, like, just like I say, like the silk wraps or in scarves or in boxes or in bags. However you want to do is up to you. Just make sure it's something that matters to you. It's not somebody else's choice about how to do that. If you went to a mechanic and said, well, how do you keep your hammers or your wrenches in good shape? They're going to do what they think is the right thing to do to store them, to keep them appropriate. So for me, since this is the whole room essentially, I can't do deck by deck, card by card by card. And some people will sleep with their tarot decks under their pillows to connect with their deck. I'm telling you, I would end up with crumpled and crazy cards that way, because I toss and turn like an alligator when I sleep. So I sage the room before I start to get in my zone, to get in my lane. And this is what this room is purposed for. So that's what I do. You do it how it fits you.
Crystal said, I bring mine out to the forest, beach, lake, river, creek, or
Absolutely.
Or use bell and sage at home.
Yeah, a lot of people, I do have a bell that like is right here. Some people like to change the energy with sound. So they will do a bell, they'll do a Tibetan singing bowl, or sometimes they'll have rocks and crystals or stones nearby. Whatever it is that speaks to you, that helps you get more centered with your cards, that helps you feel like you're honoring your practice, your spiritual practice of reading the cards and tuning in and dialing in this way. That's what I'd suggest.
Jay put, you dropped a card while picking up the bell.
I don't think so.
Maybe not.
I did. And it is the Two of Swords. Interesting rendition. Not the typical, but there you have it.
And Crystal said, yeah, it's just got a singing bowl and use rocks too.
Yeah, whatever you feel like you're dialed into, however that speaks to your senses and you is most important. It's paramount to me. If somebody else said, well, you must light, 3 candles that are white candles and blah, 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 and this is how you do it and it's the only way to do it, I'd say you're full of shit. There is no only one way to do anything. So you do what feels personal and significant to you. And that's your cue telling the universe, hey, you're going in your lane. You're going in your zone.
Heard Emily put, I'm going to laugh if it was the Page of Cups.
Oh my God, that Page of Cups this week. Right? Yeah. It's not the Page of Cups. But I'm going to bring some of these
What are you doing over
other
there?
ones
What are you
over.
doing?
Just bringing some of these over.
All right, Emily wants to know, do you know of any 90s themed decks?
One that reminds me of the 90s, I'm not sure if it was the 90s, is this Tarot of the Sweet Twilight. This one. It makes me think very much Avril Lavigne energy. I don't know why. Let me see if I can pull something. It just does. And I don't know if it's very 90s, but it feels very 90s. So I came across this later. I got this one actually in Boise when I visited my sister. So these ones, if you can see some of these cards, can you show them that? Or maybe you can see them. Are you close enough? Can they see them?
I can't get them now.
Okay. Feels a little further back. But, yeah.
I'm recording this for Angie's YouTube.
In case we want to do YouTube or anything, throw up any parts of this later, we will. But yeah, this one is, to me, feels the most like that. One of the breakthrough decks, and I don't know when it was that the Wild Unknown first came through, but I think it was after the 2000s. I think it was maybe, when did that come through? Because I resisted getting that one for a while. The Wild Unknown was really a breakthrough deck. It was like not sticking to the traditional script at all. So another 90s deck that I might think of as a 90s deck, there was like an Arthurian one, and the Spiral Tarot, those ones have, not loving them. So yeah, I don't know if I think of them in terms of when they were published or when they first came out. Like, I think Pamela Coleman Smith deck came out in 1909 originally.
All right, Jay, is it best to buy a deck in store or online?
However you damn well please, just get one if you want to learn one. So sometimes you go to the store and you can pick them up and hold them. But once you buy them, stores are really funny. I think they don't want to count the cards to make sure if you return the product, you're never going to be able to return a tarot deck to Barnes and Noble or anything. Once it's sold, it's sold. You could probably return it to Amazon. However, it's like almost like buying underwear because people are like, nah. But I think it's just they don't want to count all the stuff. And then there's beliefs about the energies that are held within the deck. Like some people won't let others hold their decks. Some people only want themselves to hold the deck. Other people are just fine. They want the other people's energy in the deck. So because there's so much superstition about it, if you go to a regular Barnes and Noble store or your local hippie trippy shop, whatever it is, once it's sold, it's out the door. There's not going to be a return on that. So you do what you need to do on that. The advantage that I think about going through the store is you get the vibe of the store. I have a shop that I like to go to, the Conjuring Tree in West Jordan, and Andy recommends decks. And lots of times that he recommends a deck, it's a good fit for me. There's some stores that have a bunch of sample cards that you can see. I love, like the store in Amityville. When I was in Amityville on Long Island, they had sample cards, and I liked that. I like being able to see the sample cards that are there, because then you can get kind of a sense of the art, not just what's shown on the box. So, yeah.
All right. Okay, Sabrina, is it okay to leave my deck on a selenite dish?
Yeah.
I was for some reason pulled to do this.
Yeah, I would. Selenite is very, very cleansing. It's said to absorb a lot of negative energy and to be really cleansing and healing. So yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Be careful with crystals, though, that some of them, selenite is one that sometimes splinters, and I think of the old school fiberglass that they used. My grandma used fiberglass to decorate and put like Christmas angels in it. If you went to reach those Christmas angels, you could get fiberglass in your hands, but it was like a thing for a while, like in the late 70s, maybe early 80s. So selenite, you want to be careful with the selenite wands or selenite sticks. If it's smooth because it's not rough and raw, then I would be more for that. But I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
All right. Alta, has Phil tried reading for other people? No. Moving on. Next up we have I Choose Self-Love. Don't know your name, sorry. What do you say to others that say tarot opens a portal to bad entities? I don't believe it.
I don't think you need tarot to open a portal to bad entities. I think there are forces of good and forces of evil in the world, and where you want to draw that focus, or if something really crazy has happened in a certain situation, there's going to be residue of that energy there. I think people are intimidated by tarot, and I think that I have never had bad energy opened. I think when you draw in the sacred, the divine, the spiritual, you make sure that your space and your head space primarily and your heart space is open to only what you want to have enter. Now, if you're going to go ghost hunting where some axe murder went crazy, you're going to be walking in a weird zone. But tarot to me doesn't open a portal. What it opens is minds, it opens ways of relating, and it opens your own spirit to get information, to pass information, and to learn. It's like telling me a Dr. Seuss book would open a portal to bad entities. Oh, really? I have trouble buying that. But people have been so much like, particularly, when the Romans met the pagans and the Christianity and pagan got all intermixed and intermingled, it was really much easier to make pagan and witchy woo-woo and hippie trippiness other and bad, and really easy for people that want you to conform to their way of doing to say, oh, that's evil, that's bad, that's awful. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. Now, my auntie that first read for me, she said of Ouija boards, she said, if you use a Ouija board, it's like just throwing your door open for any old spirit to come in. Now, I have never used one, but I know plenty of people do. So I think it has a lot to do with the presence that you bring in there and you being aware. If something feels sketch, if something feels off, if you feel the energy screwball in a place, like, okay, one time Phil and I toured the Boise prison. I never want to tour a prison again in my life. It was an old prison that they used to use, and it was awful in there. There was so much energetic residue. I didn't want to be in that energy at all. You have to honor what is within your energy. Like, that's a good lesson for me to never do that. But you'll know. So trust your own inner spirit more than anything else. A deck that is full of ghosts isn't necessarily going to make things haunted. So intention is a lot to do with it. Intention and your own spiritual intention. No, it doesn't open up.
Yeah, that Boise prison, boy, they had like
creepy.
They had like the death chamber essentially, where they had like the hangman's
It's
noose
just
and
too
all
much.
that. It was
It's just
an
too much.
insane
Too much.
1800s prison to go to.
Yeah, it was like just something that we thought to do because we were there and we need to kill some time, and it's like Phil's like, oh, let's do it. I'm like, eh. So yeah, that's probably the one thing that Phil has said. Why don't we do this? And I never again. Nope.
All right.
It's just too much.
Okay, next up we have Sarah.
Okay.
Do you use crystals to help with negative energy?
Sometimes I like having crystals around. Sometimes, now my daughter Alta, who has chimed in here and there, she speaks rock like I speak tarot. She understands rock and crystals. She'll be like, fill this one, fill this one, fill this one. She feels the energy off of crystals far more, she's more sensitive to that than I am. But I do like crystals and different things. I like my selenite styluses and wands when I'm doing light language, light work, that kind of thing. I like those. There's angelite. There's certain rocks and stones that are very, very grounding. So yeah, I like to incorporate them, but I'm not as knowledgeable or as gifted in that way because I love tarot so much. So I tend to focus my energy there. If I wanted to focus in more, could I develop that more? Sure. I think most of us can develop any of our psychic gifts if we want to spend the time to do that. But if that's kind of naturally, if you're naturally in that lane, use that. Use that. It's a good gift to have. So yeah, I like, what is it? Orange calcite, yellow calcite. I like that. I have blue calcite. I like the calcites. I like the selenite. I like some of the, is it hematite? I've got the pyrosite in that necklace, the wisdom necklace that Luke Nickel from Earth Flame Creations, he did. Where's that? Is that handy? That's here. These are something that I keep close to me that I like. Okay. So this is from Luke Nickel, Earth Flame Creations, and it's like pyrosite. I always say that wrong. This is an amethyst stone. It's now I like the smooths usually more than the roughs, but this one I just loved. I picked it up. I couldn't set it down. I love this one, and I keep it close. And then I think this one is labradorite, and so these are three that I have handy. I have some pyramids that I've gotten. So I do like the stones around me. I don't love them like I love tarot, but I do like them a whole hell of a lot. So yeah.
So Kim put Petersite, I guess. I don't know. P-I-E.
Petrosite. Kim would know. Kim has
We need
more
it
rocks.
phonetically, Kim.
Yeah. Blue. Bluey, swirly, bluey, black. Remind you of the universe. Remind you of the winter woods.
All right.
Yeah.
Emily has a question. What other forms of divination do you enjoy? We know tarot, oracle, and bones.
Okay. Tarot, oracle, and bones. I do like light language. I haven't done divination dice, but it might be something I would want to try. I've tried using the rods, and I like using the rods, but for me they work a little opposite. So it's not like some people think this would be a yes and this would be a no. For me, it always works opposite. So then I like kind of second guess myself, like what? I've tried pendulum, but I think I get too in my head and I don't let it flow enough. So the pendulum seems to stay very still, and it's like, okay, all right. I do like dialoguing with my spirit guides or dialoguing with the other side. So and that is in in my second tarot class, I mentioned that a little bit. But you can go in, you can invite your guides in, and you can start writing, automatic writing, some people call it. It's different than just a brain dump or a morning pages, 3-page write. When you're dialoguing and then the answers come and it's not your voice, it's not your thoughts, it's external to you, and you're dialoguing back and forth with the divine, with the guides, with whoever's on the other side that you're wanting to connect with. I like that a lot. I haven't done that a lot publicly, but yeah, I do like that, and it's very, very interesting. So tarot journaling, just for your own knowledge and wisdom, is when inspiration will come that way through. But yeah, I like to do that. That's some of the ways. I don't know what else. I've tried screening, and I'm not sure if I'm the world's best screer or if I just tune in and I'm in the lane. I don't know. I don't know on that. Meditation is an interesting thing where you go into like a guided meditation, or certain trance drum stuff is really good. I dig that. I don't know. I think that you could use, if you're gonna be in the way of chiromancy, you might see tarot cards like in the clouds. You'll see certain shapes, or you'll see a certain tarot card pop up in real life. You might see people acting like the Lover's card and it's just boom, so blatantly obvious, and that's the universe trying to send messages to you. Or like when you see feathers, you pick up feathers or you see feathers, yeah. So
All
I hope
right.
that answered it. I don't know if it did, but yeah.
Okay, Sabrina, does Angie do any prayer or anything before coming live to do readings?
I try and get in my zone, and I like the incense to get in my zone. Now, if I've done meditation before, like if I'm doing it for a really heavy thing, I would want to have totally a clear space depending on the thing. When I'm doing TikTok lives, a lot of it is very fun, and I have learned just to I tell Phil, give me the smoke, because when the incense comes, it's like that's the cue to my body to just get out of the way. And so I'm not meditating 24/7. I mean, my brain is bouncing all over the place all the time. It's a very busy brain. And it's like, okay, so the smoke seems to get me centered, grounded, and like ready to go. And sometimes it's like my daughter would recommend ABBA Dancing Queen to get the bitchiness out of me. The smoke kind of gets the rest of the space out there. And this is like dedicated time to do what we're doing here. Let the message come through, feisty or not, whatever it is, it needs to come through. And it's not, Angie's ego doesn't need to be in the way. Nothing needs to be in the way. Just let it through. And so if some people call that like maybe channeling messages, or like Macy had me do a straight read the other day, just like straight spirit, and feels like, well, you gotta throw some cards. And so I've been reluctant to say, okay, well, I act as a channel or a medium, or I talk to dead people, although I do. So okay, it's like sometimes I get a little bit shy. When my friend told me to go on TikTok, I'm like, yeah, no, I think not, no. So yeah.
Jen said she's a channel.
Yeah. So other people can call it what it is, and I guess I get a little bit reluctant about that. So.
All right, and just to be clear, when we say smoke,
it's incense.
Then yes. That's what I just grab one of these at random, pull the little cone out, and.
But I do love Palo Santo. I do love frankincense a lot. Those two are particularly great. Aloe vera is great too. So if there's a certain thing, like, we forget that our clairs and our sense of smell plays into things. Like if you go to someplace and you have the smell of Lysol, and it's like the disinfectant, and it's connected to a hospital room or something, you might flash back to that because that scent will trigger memories. I think there's other scents that are around that we might have triggered, just like we have memories from past lives or things that drip in that way. And I think scent is one of those mysterious things that can connect you in an interesting way. I think it's why sage works so well.
All right, Sarah, do you do any shadow work?
Sometimes I do. It's a different kind of thing. It's not like you're inviting darkness in, but I tend to keep things more on the light, but it doesn't mean that you sometimes don't rage at God or the gods or the creator because you feel like you've been ripped off or gypped or life has been unfair or overly harsh. Sometimes there's times where you have to take yourself out of a certain situation and have it come to Jesus with Jesus or whoever. So in those regards, there's parts of our personality, parts of our lessons that are curriculum lessons that are joyful and good and light. And then there's other parts where we have to learn what is our line that perhaps our saboteur line. How do we self-sabotage? How do we, like Carolyn Miss calls it, the saboteur, the prostitute, the child, and I think the victim or something like that. All of those that we all have in our archetypes. So some of these will bring up shadow lessons, or why am I doing this? Why am I in my lesser selves? Or why do I feel petty on this certain thing? Like nobody's perfect. We all have light and dark in us. So to think that we don't have our chicken shit moments where fear gets us, or where our old behaviors of one way or another don't get each and every one of us. We all get those shadow lessons. Some of us are really good at denial, and then the lesson's just going to keep repeating till you learn it. But yeah, so for shadow work, I would take on more self-reflective questions that are uncomfortable to ask. Like, what's the payoff of being, like, okay, here's an easy one. What would be the payoff for Angie to continue carrying weight? Well, maybe it feels like a security buffer. Maybe the good and plenties Angie knows not to eat, right? So what would be the payoff for continuing this path? Well, it's comfortable. Am I ready to do the work that says, hey, you're going to need to work out every day and lose weight? No. Am I comfortable with the skin I'm in? Yes. Is there old associations why I keep weight on for safety and for what I feel is a little bit more secure around me? Absolutely. Absolutely there is. But does it need to overtake my world? No. No. So if I wanted to dive deeper into that and go through that at some point, I might. I feel pretty comfortable with where that's at. But that doesn't mean that it's a wrong thing to dive into, and you don't have to be lost and bogged in shadow work. If you feel triggered or angry or pissed about something, that's a heads up. There might be some work to be done. Now, and I'm not talking just feisty, like knee-jerk, but like genuinely, if you feel enraged or really, really angry about something, there's a reason that there is that anger there. There's a reason that there's that fire in you, and that's worth exploring and looking at. Some people do much of that, and they would be probably better to advise you on that. However, I think when we think of tarot and going forward and how we want to carry forward, we can't sugarcoat it, but we do need to go forward, and better to grow and learn than to dwell in a shit swamp. And there's been times when I've had to dwell in a shit swamp or cry till my nose is totally snotty and I'm cursing out God. You know, there's been times. So it's like, the shadow lessons are very, very, I think for each of us, very personal and very difficult. But once we're through them, it's a good thing. So, yeah, that's what I would say on that. And you don't know when you're going to get that. Like, my mom died and she's crossed over. And there was surprising amounts of anger. And I felt like my mom was a different mom to me than she was to my other siblings. And I always kind of thought a little different from my other siblings. And they are like, what are you talking about? So, of course, there would be some energy and some work that needed to be done and some forgiveness that needs to come. And sometimes I've got more of that capacity than others. So, yeah.
Okie doke. And hi, Megan. I didn't send you an invite, Megan, because I figured it was
You were
too early in the
sleeping.
morning. Yeah, so I figured, well, Megan's going to be asleep, so I'm going to send invites to everybody.
But since you're here, glad you're here.
Yeah, it's like, what, 4:30 in the morning or something over there?
Crazy.
Or no, 4:30 in the morning, I would say. Wow.
Yeah.
So glad to see you.
Good to see you.
All right. Chad, let's see. Let's scroll back here. The pin only puts a little bit. Let's talk about your guides a moment, please. Do you know how many, who, and who were the first three?
Lucy was the first one that I really got my attention. So Lucy is one that I wanted to connect with my guides, invite my guides in, and Lucy shows up. When I got that crystal skull, now Melanie France, Swear Tarot, she's on the other side now, and she had, I think, lots of guides, but she introduced the notion of crystal skulls to me and was talking with me and got me to think about this a little more. So it's like, this is an interesting one. That's when Gogs came in. There's a few of my ancestors that come in as guides, so my grandparents, particularly my mother's parents, come in a lot. My mom will sometimes come in. So they come in, and they're more like personal and familiar. I don't connect with specifically one archangel, but I do believe in the angels as guides to help us. You can believe whatever you want. Not my job to convince anybody of their beliefs. That's your thing. And then sometimes you get surprised, like when I'm doing my meditation and there's this certain one, shaman's journey with the drum, and you go to this tree and blah, blah, blah. All this shit shows up, and it's like, that's where I usually go. I didn't know there was another pathway to go, but my mind went there. And as I'm going, that's when Nell came in. So Nell is newest on the scene. She's just arrived in the last month or so. And so those are some of the guides. Now, who I would want to connect with on the other side that might be a brilliant person to have in the council or in my council or help me out, and I think people on the other side are happy to help. I like Wayne Dyer's work. I like what he taught. I think it's important work. And so if I wanted to invite a message from him, I think I could. I think any of us could. You can assemble whatever council you want on the other side. Melanie told me this, and I'm like, haven't thought of that, but I think you're right. That sounds true to me. That sounds accurate. So, yeah, you can invite your guides in, and if you don't have a name that pops to you that what they are, they're not going to come in and say, here's my name every time. So if you need to name them, like Guardian Angel Ted is who I call. That's probably the group for all the Guardian Angels.
And there they are. We had to do our drinking game there, Ange.
Yeah, well, yeah, Guardian Angel Ted, you hear me refer, because, you know, Metatron and Raphael and Gabrielle, maybe I've got my own personal hang-ups a little too much and it's just a little too distant. Maybe I need a little bit more play. you know, so yeah.
Kim said I was waiting for that.
Yeah, guardian angel Ted, definitely. So, and people like, you hear The Secret, and what's her name? I forget her name. But she has the collective of Abraham. There's somebody else that had the collective of Seth. So there's collectives that come in as a group as guides. Your guides can come in as a group. I think as humans we tend to think of them in terms of specific a little easier. But if they're representing a group, then they're representing a group. You'll know better than I will. But make space for them to come in and be open to what comes through. So, yeah.
All right. Okay, Megan, we will get to your question. Somebody, I forgot who it was, put it, if I ever had any moments with Angie that have scared you. So it was Chad. And I said, not regarding tarot or anything, but I used to go to work at like 2 a.m. So I'd get ready, take a shower, get all dressed, and then I'd come in and I'd kiss Angie, on the cheek or the forehead or something and tell her, hey, I'm leaving. And one day I kissed her and it scared her, and she reached up, literally choked me and said, get away from me, you bastard. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, hey, whoa, it's me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, what the hell were you dreaming about?
My dreams are absolutely crazy. They've always been full color, lucid, and pick up a thread here, pick up a thread there. They are vivid dreams, have always been insanely vivid dreams. So yeah, for whatever reason, and sometimes I'm like on superhero mode, or sometimes I'm on the run, or sometimes I'm on Rescue Ranger this, or whatever the fuck.
Or she's Michael Jordan doing.
Sometimes I can do
launching
basketball.
From the top of the key
my
for a
hang
dunk.
time is fucking great when I do basketball. I'm 5'2" and a half. I'm not going to play pro basketball, but in my dreams when I do, the hang time's great. The ice skating dreams and the flying dreams, I love those. When I'm like, the ice skating dreams are particularly tricky because it's like, oh, I can't really ice skate. Oh, enjoy the dream. So it used to be that I could watch ice skating, and sometimes I would get the ice skating dreams. Can't do that on command. No, I don't have that as my gift yet. But sometimes if I'm sorting things out, they'll sort out. So usually they're good.
So needless to say, I'll from a distance, I'll like tug her foot, like, hey, I'm out of here, okay? I don't go up for the kiss anymore because I think I'll go to work with a black eye or something someday. So.
Well, and it used to be that our bedroom was set a little differently, and he'd come in and just opening the door, the air pressure, I'd be so depending how deep of a sleep I'm in, depending where I'm at, is how I do startle easy. The senses are on heightened alert a lot. So when you're sleeping home alone and then the doors and the air pressure suddenly changes, that startled me. So
All right, cool. Yeah, that's the number one kind of thing. We
tend to have a lot of light and happy energy between us. We're not often very angry. It's not that we never argue. Phil and I rarely argue, which is great. But maybe it's because after you've been through a divorce and you shop a little bit differently for a partner, you're just like, fuck it, I'm not into this arguing shit. I don't have it. So if it's somebody that I can't stand being with, I'm not going to be with them, But, yeah.
All right, Emily's asking, what is your favorite Angieism? And same to me. There's so many. I can't even think of. And then there's, of course, it seems like every show she thinks of a new one.
He'll be like, oh, that was an Angieism. I'm like, what are you talking about? And something like, I don't know, something about butterflies can't be stealth with the caterpillars or some kind of shit like that. I have no idea what it was I said. I have no idea.
All right. Yeah. Megan, hey Angie, would you be interested in a long distance shamanic healing?
Maybe. Yeah, send me an email.
Okay, that's it, I guess. Wow.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I kind of think we're all doing...
she said, will do.
I think we're all doing healing all along the path. I don't think healing is a one and done thing. I think it's a process that we all do as we uncover, discover, and recover ourselves, our more authentic selves, and as we learn more about ourselves, we're healing all along the way. It's a continual process. It's not a one and done kind of thing. So yeah, very interesting.
Okay, Steph, Maybe she said, Angie, maybe we should work on lucid dreaming together.
Maybe so.
All right. Let's look here. I accidentally scrolled up, so I lost all the stupid things.
Yeah. My dreams are so vivid that if I were to try and write them down in the journal, it would take longer than to just explain them. But like, I think last night I was in the airport and there was that the night that Tom Selleck was in the dream?
Yes, you said something about Tom Selleck this morning.
It was like, what is he doing here? Maybe I've had too much time with the Morgan Greer deck and the Mustache Tarot, So, like,
Jen said maybe voice clips to yourself.
Yeah, well, and usually if there's a message of significance, I'll get it. Or sometimes there's a message for somebody close to me, and I'm like, I was dreaming about such and such the other day. So sometimes it's just a whole kettle of bonkers. Other times it's more meaningful, and they feel a little different. If I see my mom in dreams, I'm always glad to see her. So, depends. And my aunt said that if you're dreaming and you see her, she said to me, Angie, if you see me in your dreams, probably I'm dreaming of you too. Be aware of that. That's some kind of connection there. And this is my aunt that reads the tarot, so yeah.
All right, MP Bentley. What are Angie's sun, moon, and rising signs? Love y'all.
Sun, moon, and rising. My sun is Virgo, and I think it's Sagittarius. And is there a Libra in there? I have my chart. Astrology's not my thing. There's two different kinds. One of them came like really heavily Libra, and the other one had more Sagittarius. So I'm not sure if I was using the Vedic astrology or the traditional Western astrology, but they're a little bit different on that. But yeah, so very, very Virgo is the sun, which always surprises me. And the Libra, easily to see two sides of a thing for me. Easy to weigh it out. Easy to do that. And then a little bit of that Sagittarius energy sometimes brings a little more true than I think. So, yeah.
All right. Lauren, what would you say is the best way to discover which divination tools are right for you?
Experiment. I would think play with them. Don't rule it out or in. Try it. See what you naturally gravitate towards. If you naturally gravitate towards stones or pendulum or the rods, that's just as good as gravitating towards tarot. Whatever it is that you naturally gravitate to, you probably have reason to be gravitating towards that. That's probably, trying to give you a clue. So whichever thing that it is that you naturally gravitate to, go towards that. Not everybody is going to be like all about tarot or all about the crystal balls or all about crystals and stones. But whatever it is, if you're somebody that you do have a lot of dream space and you keep a dream journal and this is what you do and this is an important thing for you, or you get a lot of messages that way, go where you naturally gravitate first. Then if you want to explore, others do. And if it's not clicking, just figure it's not that it's closed to you in any way, but there might be a timing for you to learn something a little bit different beforehand. So
okay. All right, Emily, I think I already know the answer to this, and most people do. What's Angie's favorite tarot card? Single card, not deck. Example, the sun.
I love the sun, but one that is my absolute favorite that I think people wouldn't think is the tower.
There you go.
Why? Because those oh fuck moments of the tower where everything has gone to shit. I've had a few of those in my world. And always on the other side of that tower, it's better. Every goddamn time, it's better. So if you feel like your world is blown up or destroyed or shot to shit and everything is like shot to shit, in that moment, it sucks big. But after that, you kick the rubble away and you find you're able to survive it and keep moving. And you find new strength. You find new resilience, new ways of doing it, new gifts that you're grateful for, new mechanisms of coping you didn't know. You find another layer of yourself you didn't even know was there because you survived the shitstorm. So that's one of my very favorites of late. And another one? And it shifts sometimes. I love the star card too, for the healing waters and the realignment with the true north. It allows you to take a pause. It allows you to be naked before your maker. It allows you to contemplate the mysteries of the universe. It allows you to have inspiring thoughts, hopes, ambitions, and dreams, and reason to hope again. So, and those are right by each other. That's number 16 and 17, right? So those are beautiful, beautiful cards. I love those.
And Jen put the star always comes after the tower for me. Mm-hmm. And Steph put they work together.
They really do. They really do.
All right. Let's go. Sonia, how do you trust more in yourself and intuition?
I think it comes with practice and with time. I think one of the things when you're first learning tarot, they'll say read one card a day, do your tarot journal one card a day, and I think that's a slow way to do it. I think you should play with the cards, enjoy them, and I think that you'll find where does this connect with real life, or you do maybe you do a 3-card spread for yourself. What do I need to know? What do I need to watch out for? And what's going to surprise me? That might be better than past, present, future for many of us. And if you find what's going to surprise me, and you see the tarot card, let's just randomly pull. We'll randomly pull from Carly. The Star, of course. We see this, and suddenly something about maybe something astrological is really, really happening, or maybe all day you're seeing stars of Bethlehem everywhere. Maybe you pull this, and it's not Christmas time, but there's the Star of Bethlehem everywhere, everywhere, everywhere for some reason. Or you're getting this coming through, or some kind of Christmas card falls out of your desk, and it's got something that's very similar to this. You're like, well, damn, okay, I need to pay attention to what is my true north, what is my hope, what is my inspiration. So if you're pulling cards and you see the very visual image and it repeats, or you see somebody that says, you know what, I was thinking about this the other day. So after a while of pulling cards, and then you get this, one of the clearest I got that blew my mind was gold eyeshadow was on this certain card, and I don't know if it was the Star Temple Oracle. It was one of my Oracle decks, and this woman had this gold eyeshadow on this card. And a few days prior, I had been playing with crazy eyeshadow, crazy makeup, and I had done gold eyeshadow, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this is kind of crazy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then I was doing journaling work and tarot journaling, and I pulled this card that has this gold eyeshadow. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. The synchronicities will line up. You'll be like, you got to be kidding me. So when the universe gives you answers like that, don't doubt that it will, don't doubt that it can. But at first it might be like, I'm reading too much into that. What are the odds on that? Of all of these cards and all of these decks, what are the odds that would be so closely connected? The divine will line things up. We just have to be open enough to pay attention to it. So it's not wrong to ask for signs from the other side, from Guardian Angel Ted, or whether it's Lucy or Nell or Gogs or whoever my guides are. If I need help, it's not wrong to ask for some help from the other side. They're waiting to help. We have, I think Susan Lynn calls it helper spirit guides and helper angels. So not all of our guides are going to be the ones that help us with the daily grind, but we do have those. And then there's ones that are like, no, this is the big overcharted path, and we're going to make sure she hits this particular destiny point, fate point for her. It has to happen. So nothing can be taken that you're going to have what you're meant to have. And the guides will help you get there, but sometimes if you want a little bit of a clue, they'll give you a clue. So.
All right. Geraldine, what is Angie's favorite tarot deck?
I don't have one, but this is a few. Dark Mansion, one of my favorites. The Halloween Trick or Treat Tarot. This is the Dark Mansion, very Tim Burton-y. I have lots of favorite decks because they have a different kind of energy about them. So these are some of my favorites. Those are two that I go to a lot. What else? This is a recent favorite, and I felt as strongly connected to this one. This is the Witch's Garden Tarot. Now, I wasn't raised with all the witchy woo, but the art is so beautiful and relatable, it immediately speaks to me. I love it, love it, love it, love it. So some of this you'll find in a different deck that you just absolutely love. This is one that I absolutely love. I like a lot of the Sarah Marchetti decks. I have a shit ton of his
Kim
decks.
just said that.
A shit ton. Like, this is Ciro. This is Ciro. Where else? These two are Ciro. These ones here, Ciro. I try to put them sometimes down because I use them so often. There's the Grand Lux from Sarah Marchetti that I love. I'll have the box on that one. I'll get that one and show you. I have 3 of these, and I wouldn't mind a 4th of this. So love this, and you can kind of show them, maybe show them that. And that's here somewhere, but I go to that one a lot. Oh, here it is. It's these. This is Sarah. I've got 3 of these, and I trim them down or try and re-ink the sides so when I double down I can like them that way. What else is a favorite? Gosh, that's a really hard question. Deviant Moon I like for its snarky attitude, but it is a little bit sometimes a teeth kicker. Where did that one go? It's over here. Deviant Moon.
The panda deck lately.
The Happy Panda. I love these cheerful ones. They surprise me. The Happy Panda or the Cute Ghost. They're just really cheerful. They're lighthearted. Now, if I'm going to go serious working deck, if you want a working deck, Pamela Coleman Smith can't be beat. But serious working deck, also I would say, if you want to go straight to the heart of the matter, That one from Cyril Marchetti, The Grand Looks, is excellent. The imagery is a little bit different, but for me, it's excellent. If you find that the Modern Witch is one that does that for you, then great. The steampunk I like. Good grief, there's just a shit ton of them. I like it, and I tend to prefer it when they keep the suits as they are meant to be kept instead of renaming everything, which sometimes if you get a themed deck, they'll have such and such of pumpkins or of ghosts or of, like, don't fuck with me. Just keep it how it's supposed to be. But that's my own personal preference. Depends what the questions I'm asking. If I'm going into past life, the dreaming way is good. The romantic tarot is good for past life. Julia Jeffries, the Tarot of Hidden Realms. It's very, very personal. It's great in past life. I went to it for archetypes the other day, but it's not got the typical symbols in it. So it depends what the question is, why I'm asking, or who I'm asking for. So when you see me reading on the lives, I go to the deck that I'm called towards. The Llewellyn is beautiful, but it's not going to be right for every certain situation. This one is not going to be right for every certain situation. So I try to follow the nudge and just stay out of my own way as much as possible. Sometimes I feel like the absent-minded professor about it, but I figure it's easier than trying to, now what would this person like to, just follow where the spirit is leading me, do the best I can, and that's what I can offer. It's not going to be perfect.
With the Deviant Moon, Jen put Kim, she stopped using it on me, so wahoo.
Yeah. Well, and if I've used a certain deck on somebody multiple times, let me know, and I'll try and do a different one. And if I feel strongly, that still needs to be that deck, I'll let you know.
Well, I brought that up one time with Jen, and Jen was like, no, just let her go.
Let her go. So, yeah, and sometimes I will repeat. This person will ask, and it's like, this is that deck. We're still in this deck. Something here is somehow in the image going to get me to get the message to you. So it might not be that you have to have that specific art. It might be that that's what spirit needs me to get the message out to put it towards you. So.
All right, Chad, Angie, you're known for unique layouts. Who gives you those layout ideas?
Me. I gives me those ideas. I have Pinterest is like a little bit deadly addictive. I have probably bajillion Pinterest layouts and spreads that I've seen and collected, and I used to write them down and write my layouts and write different things. Now, most of my spreads, I'll follow the shape, like the Emperor's Chair or the Emperor's Throne. I'll do that one, and it's very like a U shape in my mind here and a little U below. The Australian 10, that comes from Ellie Dreams Down Under, and that's like the significator and the challenge, and then she does the rest of them this way. That's from Ellie Dreams Down Under. She's great. I like it because you can do the Celtic Cross in a short amount of space, right? Vince Patici, he's been reading cards as long as I've been alive, and I'm 54, so he has some really good ones that I mentioned in my course. I like some of his, so I'm constantly looking at how other tarot readers are doing it, and if I see a spread I really like, I'm going to take it. The rosette spread, there's numerous people that do a rosette spread or a horseshoe spread. That's pretty commonly done. If I get an image that flashes through, like the archer spread, if there's an arrow or if there's rainbow arcs or whatever it is, I take that as my cue to do the spread, and then I tend to do it this way.
Hold on. I think we're frozen.
Are we frozen?
Okay, it's a little bouncy. It took us off the Wi-Fi, so we'll see if it comes back.
We good?
Hold on.
All right. Water.
It's been glitchy the whole time. Frozen, Chad.
Thanks. Glitchy the whole time. Maybe I'm too fast for it. Hey, honey, can I talk you out of some of your water? Because I don't have any water here.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I've got a shit ton of empty water bottles.
I think we're back. We're looking good on my phone.
Are we good?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, so the spreads, I follow the shape that comes through or the image that comes through. Generally, if I'm doing this side of me is like past, this is conscious, this is subconscious, this is future, because I was taught to read left to right, so that's how I do it. And I think of a compass north, south, and east, west as well. And that's kind of the invisible stuff that's down below. Now, if I do majors on majors, that's Lenormand, different than tarot system, but they have each of those positions, and each of the Lenormand cards represents a certain position. So it's the positions in the spread that give context to the cards, but sometimes you'll see a grouping or a trio. Like the other day, something came through that hadn't come through, and it was just this group of balloons. And it's like, okay, I'm going with the image that comes through. I guess that's the nature of Ange, and this grouping of balloons that came through, and then the tethers that came down. I think my mind works good with metaphors, with analogies. I think it's a great way to teach. It's a great way to learn. It's a great way to understand or have layers of understanding. And sometimes that's all it is. But that's where the spreads come from, is in the moment. If I need to do the balloons, if I need to do the Emperor's Chair, so some of them that I go back to, the Ellie's 10 is just quick, and then I usually do 5 below as informational, or if I want to do like subconscious here, conscious here. There's Black and Orange Tarot. She does political tarot readings, but she does a card for the read, and then she does a line of 5. In Lenormand, they also do lines of 5 or lines of 7, so you can do that how you want. So those are common that I do. If I'm getting sentence format, the book, I don't know why the book comes up as it does, but it comes up usually as 9 here, and binder all throughout. And sometimes there will be a lead card or a bookmark card here, so it just depends. So it depends, but that's how it comes up. And it's usually something that's ending chapter past, going forward in the future, what's merging them together. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's how my mind works. If your mind works better and you just want the one go-to spread every time, if that's how your mind likes it, do it that way.
All right, Jen said she trusts herself and moves with spirit. That's what I see with you, with
Thank
your
you.
spreads. With you.
Yeah, I really try to do that. I really try my best, and sometimes, and this is what I got over too, I don't have to understand. It doesn't have to make sense to me. The message just has to come through. Now, when I was talking with Melanie on the phone, she said, don't get hung up and worried about if you're right or not, because that's going to influence how you do your reading. No, just you do the best you can, and odds are you're going to be tuning in and you're going to be fine. So if you worry about if you're going to tell them the right answer, or if you're going to tell them a truth maybe they don't want to hear, you can't sugarcoat it or dial it down. Sometimes I'm a little bit harsh or abrasive. I could probably work on that without sugarcoating. But what comes through is what's coming through. And I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and I don't have to be everybody's cup of tea. The people that love me, love me. The people that don't, that's okay. Nobody can please everybody all the time. That shouldn't be any of our life's ambition. Nah. That's a bad thing, to try and please everyone or get everyone to like how you do things in life. Fuck that. That's nonsense. So, all right.
All right, Ange. Woo. All right, Lauren, how is Lenormand different? I'm unfamiliar, but have been interested in checking it out.
Lenormand typically has 36 cards. Now, there's the Gypsy Witch that's loosely based on Lenormand. That I wouldn't recommend. I would recommend getting Lenormand cards. They have it set up, and I think I did something on this in my other class too. I used to have that poster nearby. I don't think I have it. They have it set up rather than a Celtic Cross, which has 10 positions. You have rows, and you have rows of 8, and then the bottom you have a line of 4. Becca, House of Lenormand is good. What's that other one? Her name starts with, it's like Danae, or what's her name? Her name starts with a D. You can also look up, is it the Card Geek, I think? But look up Lenormand on YouTube and you'll see some of them. But Donna Lee does Lenormand. It's different. It's more like a hieroglyphic, so it's a little bit less esoteric. So if you go to Lenormand cards, they're a little bit more literal, Larry. If you go to Kipper, they're even more literal. So tarot might be more like the gentle friend usually, that tells you here's this advice around the situation, about the situation. Lenormand might have the dog card come up. The dog could mean a loyal friend, or it could literally mean a dog. It might have the snake come up, representing, in Lenormand, it represents deception. Or it could be something that is snake-like or rope-shaped. Raina George, excellent book, excellent deck on Lenormand. So if you want that. I would like to take a deeper dive class from Becca at House of Lenormand if she ever hears this. I don't know if she will. But she's fucking genius. You do this whole tableau, and it's like 36 cards. You can do a box 9, you can do a line of 5. It's a different deal. Like, they have a tower, but it's different. It represents more institutions than like the tower coming down and everything going to shit. The star, there's the stars in there. It represents something that is networking, metastasizing, vast, wide scene, but sometimes literally celebrity, sometimes literally star. So it's not the same. It's totally different, but when you start understanding and playing with it, it's really super fun. So occasionally I'll pop that out.
She said, oh, interesting. Do you teach it or know anyone who does?
if I were to teach it, I would be learning right alongside with you because I know how to do it. I know how to read it, but not like I know tarot. And when I do majors on majors, that's as close to Lenormand as I do. Donna Lee is who I would recommend, or the Reign of George book, because that's who Becca recommends. And as far as I know, she's not teaching a class yet, either one of them, but if they were, you can check them on YouTube. They would be great. Lenormand is very, very different from tarot, because you only have like usually the 36 cards. That's it, that's all. And it's very matter of fact. So there's no suits in it, and then they do have some of the markings of the kings and queens and jacks. They don't have pages, I don't think. And they have those on them too, so they're a little bit different. Like clover would mean a little bit of luck, or the rider would be meaning messages are here. The coffin could literally mean death or the end of something, or literally in a box. So it's more like hieroglyphic type of a thing. So yeah, it's a fun one. And I do have I probably have 6 or 8 Lenormand decks because I like it. There is a Marchetti Lenormand deck I like a lot too. There's a couple of Marchetti Lenormand decks that I have. I really like Marchetti stuff. But he has the Gilded Reverie Lenormand, and then there's another one of his. I can't remember what the newer one is, but yeah.
All right. She said, thank you. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah. If you like tarot better, some people read tarot and their brains are wired for tarot and not for Lenormand. So if you find that, okay, that's all right too.
Okay, we'll get to Susie's question. We were going to end up one. We can go for a little bit more, right? This has been
sure.
kind of fun, actually.
Sure.
It's really fun. Susie wanted to know, do you have a favorite oracle deck?
A few. Surprise, surprise. I really like the Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck. It's interesting, trippy art with different kinds of light codes that are in there. I like the angel language, the Zebu angel language for light language stuff. Those two work really well for light language type stuff, so I really like those. The Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The Chakra Wisdom, not tarot. I think it's the Chakra Wisdom Oracle deck. I brought that out yesterday and I was putting those cards away. Where did I put those? I don't know where those are, but those are good ones. Also Oracle deck. There's the fairy ones that I like that look kind of Amy Brown art, but I like them more for the art than for the Oracle. What else for Oracle decks do I tend to love? Oh, Madame Medora's I like, but a lot of people don't. The Rumi Oracle, like that one. The Mystic Shaman, I like that one. That one's really quite good. There's the Colette Baron Reed of Animal Spirit, which is, I know animals some people think are cheesy, but it's beautifully done. The map, the enchanted map.
Steph said her favorite oracle deck is the one we are making together.
Yes, there's going to be a Bones Oracle deck. You want me to show you guys? I'll show a little bit. I like archetype cards. Oh, and I just got the Citadel one for archetypes. It's quite good. But we are working on one, and this is like the rough draft of things about when I do bones. So we're putting it together. I think I had these stacked in order. But we've got to have a conversation on this stuff as far as we don't know when this is going to be done. Like Snake and Hinge. This is bone stuff. Now, we're putting this together as an oracle deck. This is what comes through when I'm reading bones, or if I'm throwing charms. I think I forgot to say that, yes, I do read charms, which is, I used to think that's just the silliest thing in the world. But charms and Lenormand are kind of the same. Like, if you saw a blue ribbon charm or a circus tent charm, you might take that to mean a certain thing by the symbol, not just by only the symbols or the colors or the tarot meanings or blah, blah, blah. So it might be a little bit different that way. But yeah, so let's just pull one of these just for fun.
Oh, Angie.
I'm going to shuffle them and get them out of order. I don't care. We'll see. Yeah, this is going to be the Bone Hex deck, because not everybody's going to want to have chicken bones. Oh, owl's coming out. Owl Moon. Okay, all right. These are coming out together. Owl is the messenger of wisdom, of guidance, and I've written over the top of some of these meanings. Moons to do with cycles, to do with mystery, to do with hidden information, all of that kind of thing. And also, not everything's exposed. Also, the feminine wisdom that would come through. This is saying honor the feminine wisdom. This also might be telling somebody, depending on the read, hey, you need to get out under the moonlight. There's something going on with you at this particular time. Or it might be saying, watch for a literal owl. Oracle decks, you can put any pictures with any cards and have it be, as long as it makes sense in a system to you, and you can have it kind of come together as a whole. There's a lot of beautiful oracle decks. Gosh. Yeah, there's a lot of beautiful oracle decks. So however you do your divination, whether it's bones or charms or pendulum or rods or oracles, oracles doesn't have as much of a structure as tarot. Tarot has a pretty consistent structure, so I like that. Lenormand has a structure. Oracles can be very rando. Like there's the Sacred Rebel Oracle. I like that one. It's great. There is the White Light Healing Frequencies. Those are good to journal with. They aren't so great to read with. There's the Priestess of Light, very Egyptian influence type thing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There's all kinds of them that are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, favorites of those are harder. I tend to more be in tarot land than oracle land, but I like to journal with oracle. And I combine them. And you can combine them. You can combine charms with tarot or charms with bones or bones with tarot and charms and oracle, however you want to do it, because it's all just tools. If you want a little teeny tiny hammer or if you want a sledgehammer, you can have all kinds of tools. Your own spiritual guidance system inside is the biggest tool you're ever going to have. So.
All right. Okay, GWiz 580. In a work environment, how might tarot be resourceful?
Well, in a work environment, how might tarot be resourceful? It will tell you who's putting in the hard work, who's doing the daily grind. It will tell you who's analytical. It will tell you who's all up in their head and thinks like an engineer. It might tell you who's the drama or who's the mean girls. Tarot is so universal for humanity. It's part of the reason I love it, because the pictures in there, particularly when you get a tarot deck, not a Marseille with just the pip cards, but you get the full illustrations of the major arcana, the stages that all humanity goes through. Sometimes hero's journey, or Barbie might put it as heroine's journey, who knows, but all of that. And then each of the suits are representative of different elements of our life, whether it's spiritual or whether it's financial and work and 3D stuff, whether it's inspirational and ambitious stuff, whether it's like that, or whether it's just intellectual stuff. It will tell you a lot. And sometimes the court cards are taken to mean people and represent people. Sometimes it's very literal. You can see that, oh yeah, that's so and so. Now that I can see that about him, I can understand how they operate a little more. Or they might tell you where you like the Five of Wands. It's a very contentious card. It's conflict, competition, strife. But it's also a lot of people trying to brainstorm at the same time, but maybe people aren't listening very well. They're just trying to prove their point or show up looking good at work. So they all come to the table brainstorming, but there's sometimes an undercurrent. So that's some of the ways it's helpful. Some of the ways it's helpful for work. So yeah.
All right.
You can ask pretty much anything of the tarot and get a lot of good answers, a lot of really helpful answers. Sometimes the answer doesn't make sense till a couple days later. Sometimes the answer makes sense years later. But what is the show that says the information's out there? The information's there. It's there. It's always there. There's information just on the subtle shift of the wind when you're dialing in. There's information in dreams all over the place. Spirit's constantly trying to talk to us and get our attention. It's just we're really good at pretending that it's not as humans.
Angie, what gifts do you see in Philip?
Oh gosh, how many can I tell you? If we're talking spiritual gifts, he's more spiritually minded than he thinks, but I think the hippie trippiness of the spiritual stuff is he is very much more grounded, very much more earthy, likes to see things in the 3D period. He plans really well. As far as my husband, I'm crazy about him. He's wicked funny, wicked funny, tunes into things, like, you know, when people do a joke and be like, oh, too soon? He's wicked funny. He'll see resemblances of people that are maybe celebrity resemblance and somebody that's a common coworker resemblance. He sees resemblances of things. If he wanted to employ that in a spiritual gift, he would see it in tarot land too if he wanted to. I think in this particular Earth cycle, he's backed off that a bit, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just my turn. Probably lifetime before it was a shoe on the other foot. Maybe I had to be more the logic and he had to be more the rando. I know he would probably not like that comfortable idea, but yeah.
It's kind of funny. I'll see some dude on the street. That dude looks totally like Tim. Thanks for the reference. Who I have no context whatsoever. But thank you.
And then it'll be like, let me show you. And he's right. He's really right. So he sees patterns and recognizes patterns and resemblance in people a lot. And I think he reads energy more than he thinks. If something creeps him out or sketches him out or something feels off, he'll let you know. But I think he's very, very much more comfortable on the other side of the phone. And I can't say I'm thrilled comfortable on this side of the phone either. But all right. So,
All right.
yeah.
Back to that work question. So tarot can be like reflective for workers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The 8 of Coins is a card of work, of labor, of craftsman, of mastery, of internship, all of that. I call it the med student card because you're learning all of your stuff and then you get where it's second nature and then you go into practice. So then you're going and doing what's work. The whole suit of Wands is about work and family, the ambitions of life. So absolutely. So sometimes one card will have a little bit crossover with another suit. But sometimes the Ace of Wands, I call it the card of swing, or sometimes it's God's thumping stick. You need bonked on the head. Your ambition is coming through. It's time. The inspiration's coming through. But yeah, absolutely, it can relate to work. Absolutely, there isn't anything that you could ask the tarot card that it wouldn't be able to answer. But whether we be able to get the access and recognize it is sometimes the challenge. So yeah, and if you're not meant to have an answer. The High Priestess is about letting mysteries unfold. So sometimes you'll get a block, or sometimes you'll get a block or a stop. She's kind of the cock block of the deck because sometimes you're asking the wrong question, stupid. That's what she's saying to me. And it's like, well, I'll be damned. Okay, I'm not meant to know. I have to let it unfold. Really? Or it's like, done. So there will be certain cards that all of a sudden it's like, boom, stop, it's done. So yeah, there's a lot. Like, it's endlessly fascinating to me, as you can tell. So yeah, it applies across so many areas of life. I can't think of one where it doesn't apply.
Okay, we'll go to the bottom of the hour, and we have a movie to go to at 2:30.
We're gonna go see the Barbie movie, guys.
So yeah, we want to get some laughing in today, so we're gonna go see that movie. Chad, Angie, is Phil really the Empress and you the High Priestess?
No. Phil's really more the Emperor, I think. I think so. I have a little vision board that I created. I guess I could run get that, or do you want to run get it?
Ange?
It's on the magnet board kind of by the door. Melanie told me to do this. There's a book that Melanie France made about creating vision boards using tarot, and I think she said just use 7 cards, and it's how you would do a vision board with the Rider-Waite-Smith or Radiant. Don't go to a themed deck. Go to the basics because you want to see this, and you want these as the images instead of cutting up magazines or so forth. But this is what I did. She said, keep it short, keep it simple. So this is one of my vision boards. This would be Phil and I, right here. This would be us. Now, this was done quite some time ago, but I have it there. And it's King and Queen of Pentacles. We're both very, very Virgo. So yeah, that's there. So definitely, absolutely that. I don't know that Phil would be the High Priestess. He's good at navigating things. He's good at reading the room. He's obviously running the room, and thank God for that. He's my ace in the hole. Because otherwise I'd be distracted and like, okay, fuck this, I'm not doing this. So yeah, he is very, very much the good partner energy. But he might be more like Hierophant than High Priestess, because there is traditional wisdom, traditional ways of doing it. He doesn't necessarily explore the inner mysteries as much, but he understands the rules, the establishment, the way, like, that's why people on the road annoy him so badly when they're doing stupid idiot traffic moves, because they're established for a reason so people don't get killed. He knows this. So, and he was literally, oh my God, he literally was a bouncer at the club. Like, back in the day, he was a bouncer. So it's like, and that's what I call the Hierophant all the time. So he's probably more that. But I don't know. We go through different stages. All of us have different stages of these. So I'm sure he has High Priestess moments that are there, Hierophant moments that are there, Empress or Emperor or Magician or Hermit or whatever. But yeah. And we're both pretty hermity. We're both pretty Virgos. Nothing beats a Virgo combination, guys. And it's the right one. It's a good thing. All right.
All right, Ange. Let's see. Something. Oh, here's Chad's. Do you have 3 book recommendations for people interested in tarot?
Sure. This is what I got. I have 4 that are great. This one is the Pictorial Key from David Corsi. He also did the Ghost Tarot. Very good. It shows lots of different kinds of tarot cards, not just his. It shows different tarot situations. This one's good. Mary Greer. This one's excellent. And this one has the Mountaintop and Climbers. You can see in this one, I highlighted the fuck out of this before I went and taught. And I taught some of this. I referenced some of this. But look, You can see the stick figures there. You can see what's going on. There's all kinds of exercises to get to know tarot in here. This one I love. This one, if you want to go into astrology more, and astrology isn't my strong suit, but it outlines it in a more astrological sense. If you want to know the deacons, if you want to know what's going on there. And that one's pretty good, but it's a little, this one's an easier read, more relatable, more fun. This one is just basic, but it does show sample reads in a good way. It shows sample spreads, and it is Tina Gong's tarot. The cards themselves aren't that thrilling and exciting, but those are the ones I would recommend. If you only could get one, it would be this one. It makes you think more. It makes it more fun. It makes it more playful. It's just great. I love it. So, yeah. Mary Greer, Corrine Kenner, Cassandra B., and Tina Gong. So, but if you like the guidebooks, even if it's like the Trick or Treat Tarot guidebook on here, and here's the Poe one also. Now, if you have a themed one and they come with this kind of guidebook, go for it. Take the time to enjoy reading it, because there's reasons they're set up like they are. All right, there's reason that they are saying, here's the art we're giving you, so don't just go off the little white book that you learned originally. They bothered to create the art to put things in there that are kind of extra bonuses. Now, the Poe deck, surprisingly great at love readings, but I'm not the world's best on Poe, but it's creepy, fun, and wonderful, and sometimes it does a hell of a good love reading. I haven't marked through it as much. I didn't relate to it as quick and easily as this Trick or Treat one. Both of them are awesome. Love, love, love them. So, yeah. And a lot of tarot books are kind of dry. The Mary Greer one, this 21 Ways to Read a Tarot Card, I got this one when I was in Boise. I got this from the same shop when I got the Sweet Twilight. And it's like, you can see, like, when I'm studying and learning or in guidebooks, I don't hesitate to write all over the fucking page. Because this is the way Angie learns. This is the way we do it. And write notes to yourself. It's not like you can only tarot journal and that's the only place you can write notes about tarot. You might write that down and 5 years later go back to it and be like, yeah, that was really brilliant. I didn't realize that then. So, you know.
Okay, Angie. All right, Kim wanted to know, speaking of the High Priestess, Phil, are you wearing Felipe?
He has not been wearing Felipe. Why? I have been wearing Felipe.
She likes wearing that shirt, so.
Now, whenever you guys see me in like Pink Floyd, or he's got a Guns N' Roses shirt on right now, or Metallica or whatever, that is Phil. That is like, Phil has the metal music, love of the metal music, and I was raised on Sound of Music. There is a little bit of a difference there. So, yeah.
All right. Chad, what decks are you wanting to get but have not yet?
Gosh golly. The 1909 round of Pamela Coleman Smith, I don't have that one yet. I would like to get one. There's the Astro Matrix one. I haven't gotten that one yet. There's one that isn't even out yet, and it's by the girl that did the Believe Your Own Magic Oracle. I love it, love it, love it. And it's the Cozy Witch Tarot. It's not out yet, but I'm probably going to want 2 of those as soon as it comes out in October. So those are 3 off the top of my head. I wouldn't mind having another like these that are slippery fuckers, these plastic ones. Listen to the shuffle on this, guys. It's so beautiful. Makes me feel like a genius shuffler, which I'm not. But they are slippery, but I like the way they go. This rose gold one, it's a little bit more faded, but I've seen other ones that I don't have in these, and I would love to have more of those, even though it's Pamela Coleman Smith with a varying shade of plastic behind it. I still dig it. I don't know why. What else would I like to get? Holy cow. Gosh, there's always about a dozen that I would like. Those are the ones that come to mind top of my head. I got the Stranger Things Tarot, and I just finished inking the edges last night, but I want to go through the guidebook a little bit more because it's very themey, but they did good on not making it all just pips, pips, pips. There is a Star Trek Tarot that's not the Next Generation. The Next Generation sucks on that one, on the tarot deck, but I've heard the other Star Trek deck is good, so that might be worth checking. What else? What else? I used to have the Lover's Path Tarot, but I did ditch that one. That was from my ex-husband. He bought it begrudgingly and crankily and blah, blah, blah. And it's good, but it's got a lot of Greek in it, and I just wasn't finding it as useful as I had hoped. So I kind of let go of that. Sometimes I think I might want that back. There's been enough time and distance and other tarot and stuff, so that might be one that I would want. I don't even know. I don't even know. There's just so many. Those are a few.
All right. Astro Jolie said, "Hi, I'm a tarot reader and artist. I'm designing my own and would love to gift you a deck when complete."
I would love that. I would love it. Send it to me and I will feature it. There's one that we got, and it was the Tarot of Oneness, and it is a beautiful deck. I love seeing the way artists create the meaning of a card in so many different forms. I love it, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't have all these bajillion decks. But I would love that. Love it.
All right. Our last question is from Chad. Of course, Chad's been the provider of questions.
Thank you, Chad.
Chad has been pinning comments or pinning questions, I should say. So
Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. What is coming up with Angie? Any projects or plans? The deck with Steph, right?
The deck with Steph is my next thing that I'm doing. And however long that takes, however that unfolds, I am happy that it's unfolding however it does. So that's good. I don't know if I'm going to do an advanced tarot reading class. I like my tarot reading class. Phil calls it beginners or basics, but it gets you reading. If you know the basics, great. You'll be reading even faster. We have all kinds of students. So it's just more conversational than a lot of other tarot books are when they're saying memorize, memorize. So I like that. I have in my Tarot Plus class different spiritual gifts that I address. So that's going on. I would love to travel and do some things or possibly do some workshops, but I don't think I'm quite ready for that. Life needs to settle down a little bit here on other fronts, so that might be down the track. I've talked with Stephanie about possibly doing maybe some festivals or something, but some of them that I thought were available aren't available, so we're still investigating that. I don't know. I don't know what's coming up. That's a really good question. I don't know.
Steph said, "Angie, let's chat maybe this evening or tomorrow. Let me know."
Okay.
And Kim said, "I've been asked if you would do an advance." And just saying.
If I would do an
advanced class.
Oh, yeah. I'm still thinking on that. And what would people want to see in an advanced class? You guys let me know. I will give it thought. I won't rule it out. I'm not the one that is the astrology extraordinaire, but that one book is really quite good. There's also somebody else. What's her name? I'll have to pull it up later. She does astrology with tarot quite well. Now, some people, astrology is their first language. It's like, what is your first language and your second? If astrology is your first language and tarot is your second, great, then that jives really well. If crochet is your first language and then knitting is your second, okay, whatever. You might learn one and go more heavily into the other later. To me, it's more heavily tarot and imagery than sciences and math and astrology, although I can see some of the corollaries. So advanced spreads I think I could do and would love doing.
Kim just said the more advanced spreads was one of the things I was asked.
Yeah, I would love to do that because I think you can double down on a deck and it doesn't have to be identical, but for some reason tarot will serve up the cards that need to be served up. Trust the universe to do it. And the way that the visuals come in is part of just opening up and realizing that your intuition is trying to lead you, and it's not that you've gone doolally wacky wackadoo. No, it's that spirit is trying to talk to you in a way you understand. So if you're understanding the visual spreads, then that's a great thing. And I could do a advanced course on that if I wanted to do that. I put that a little bit in my tarot course, but I'll give that some thought and maybe see how we can do that a little bit more.
All right, and Dawn asked, what was the name of the astrology book?
Oh, it's Corinne Kenner. Tarot and Astrology. And so if you want to know how the astrology applies, or if that's more your gig, which hallelujah for that, then this is kind of how it is. It is a little bit of a more dry read, but it's really good. And you can see I did get in there with my highlighter pen going crazy on certain things. So yeah, and sometimes when I'm in tarot, my vocabulary is like, sometimes I'll talk about signs and I can't think of the word mutable. Of all things to forget the word mutable. Fixed, cardinal, mutable. Everybody who knows anything astrology knows this. And all of a sudden that language is gone. But it happens to other tarot readers too, that all of a sudden names will disappear or certain words they want to find because they're in a different zone. It's like, okay, all right, if my vocab is going to suck sometimes, I'm not alone on that one. But yeah.
She said, thank you. Just how it applies learning tarot and it gets confusing.
Yeah. This has tarot and astrology and the Kabbalah. You can do tarot and astrology and all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of things that can be overlaid, or systems of learning spiritual things that can work together. So, yeah.
All right. And Lauren said advanced could go even more into symbolism and history of the cards as well, maybe.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Now, I did get that one historic deck, and it was Tarabusca, was that right? It was very historic, but it had stuff from like Greek mythology and all kinds of warriors and war heroes and things like this. And it's like, that is not Rider-Waite-Smith. This is different than what I expected. And it's like, that's more historic. It's a historic deck. It's not necessarily fun for me yet. So that one, I could go into, maybe we could have a little bit like, here's this, what we've got here. But tarot history, people will try and pin down to different times. But I'm telling you, I think these archetypes and these ancient things have gone way further back, because all you have to do is look at the pyramids and hieroglyphics to know people were using signs and symbols to teach things. And people used to read, like the Greeks would read organs, like, but yeah, they would read organs to know what was going on. And if you think about it, in the times where like maybe animals and herds would die because some kind of thing was happening environmentally bad, it might act as a portent of what would go for the future. So people have been tuning into spirit and doing divination of a form all kinds of times. And all those Bible thumpers that are like, oh no, tarot is bad, but open up their Bible to any given page and that's the word of God for them for the day. That's called bibliomancy. So don't give me any shit on that one, people. No. Because if that's your cup of tea and that's how you want to do it, spirit can reach out in any way that you are receptive.
All right.
Yeah.
So yes. Let's see, Lauren would have never thought of it like that, but so true. Wow.
So, yeah. That's the way Angie thinks. It's not the only way to think. It's just one lone person.
Steph, what divination has been around since the dawn of men.
Yeah.
Man, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, our last question. Emily, do you feel it's harder to read for yourself than others?
Sometimes if I'm too close to a situation, and I will try to get an answer, if it's a difficult thing or I'm too close to the situation, it's like all of a sudden the lexicon of tarot, there's so many different ways to read a card that I can't get a straight answer. It's not clear and snarky and sassy and blah blah blah. So sometimes it is harder. If I'm just tarot journaling, what do I need to see today, and there's not a huge little like thing, or if I'm doing shadow work for myself, fine. But if it's a situation that I'm already got a little bit of turmoil about, it's a little bit trickier, and I know that my bias might come in there. And so the hope for a certain outcome might be a certain way. Or if I've read on a thing, but not enough time has elapsed to show that, yeah, that's the accurate reading, then sometimes I'll be like, hey, I got that wrong. Nobody's bulletproof. Sometimes we miss things. Or sometimes we just don't know what we saw, and then we go back and it's like, oh, it was right there. So, yeah. Sometimes the personal bias can get in the way. Most times, if you're learning tarot, you're going to read questions, ask questions in your daily life, and you're going to find a way to do it that your bias isn't in the way. But when it feels confusing to you, that means your bias is in the way. So.
All right, and Don, real quick, I'm learning the general readings are terribly hard for me.
Don't do general readings then. Don't do them that way. Set up any number of cards, whether it's 3 to 5. Like a lot of people will do yes, no cards, and they just have a yes, no card. To me, just one card is like flipping a quarter. I like to do 3 cards for yes, no, and I stick to their basic upright meaning to do it that way. So that's kind of fun for me to do it that way. Don't make it work. Make it fun. Make it playful. And when you do that, then tarot really starts talking to you in a good way. It can be so fun and playful, and you'll start seeing it more. And you'll start smirking and laughing like, yeah, that's a real sneaky Pete maneuver there. There's the 7 of Swords happening right there. You see that fucker? Yeah. Sneaky Pete right there. So, yeah. Like Sneaky Pete could be a little kid with the cookie behind their back just getting it out of the cookie jar and telling their mom, no, I didn't do that, really. And that's not quite as serious as 7 of Swords is portrayed in the camp, but it's equally... You're being a sneak. You're trying to pull something off. You're trying to get away with something, and you're a little bit arrogant to think you could. So, yeah.
All right, last. Lindsay, can we talk about the moon card?
Sure. The moon card. The moon card isn't one of my favorite, but it's not one that I hate either. The moon card, you usually see the gates of fear is what you see there. You see the wild dog. You see the domestic dog. You see the crayfish or some sea creature coming up out of the water. You see something submerged below the surface, and you see the moon, big, bright. But what's below the surface is hidden. You can't see it. The sun, everything's revealed, tra-la-la-la, everything's growing. The moon, there's cycles, seasons. Sometimes it literally is about the hidden, intuitive, feminine mysteries. Sometimes it literally is a calendar cycle of a month, depending. Now, time is something that everybody has to learn how time and tarot works for them in their own way. There's books that will say, do it this way, do it this way, do it this way. But if it doesn't jive for you, you do it how it jives for you. Because spirit has to talk with you, not the book that you read. But the moon might indicate a cycle of a month. It might indicate literally getting out under the moon. It often, to me, reminds me of the moon reflecting something on a lake. Compared to, you look at yourself in the mirror, you see, okay, this is a mirror image of me. This is pretty accurate. You look at your reflection on a pool of water or on a lake, you see this reflection on the lake, and it's distorted. It's bigger. It's scarier. It's not quite accurate. Things appear bigger. They appear more ominous because you can't see clearly. So there's a distortion in the reflection being given back. So there's something that needs to come up and something that needs to surface. So the moon is a beautiful, beautiful card, but it often comes out when you need to face a fear, and go through those gates of fear to move forward anyway. And sometimes it's just recognizing that there is fear in a situation about that. It's a beautiful, beautiful card.
All right. Okay, guys, that was it. This has been fun. I thought it was going to just be, all right, what does everybody want to know? And it's just kind of, okay, Chad's got questions, Emily's got questions. Cool.
I love me some tarot.
It was great. There was some
you.
great questions.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yes, thanks so much, guys. And please follow our mods. Follow Steph there.
Chad.
Follow Chad. Follow Kim.
Kim, if Kim wants you to
follow Lauren.
Lauren.
Yes.
Megan.
Please, everyone. Megan. Yeah. Everybody.
All the regulars. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
All right. Love you guys. We will see you tomorrow. Noon Utah time.
Okay.
See you guys.
Bye, guys. Do you want to click off the other YouTube? Whatever, the iPad, whatever. Want to click that off?